Oh, snap. It's time to yap. And I'm your host, Big C, and welcome to another episode of Just Yapping. So, as we go through this journey in life, we tend to backtrack in our minds of how it was growing up. If you grew up with siblings, brothers and sisters, you could always get into a fight, right? There was a fight or argument, a disagreement, and all that other stuff. I'm better than you, you're better than me, blase, right? And then at the end of the day, you dust it off, you hug each other, and you go, right? Same thing with parents. Parents, there's an argument, your mom and dad might argue, or you'll be in the middle of it. Maybe it's about you. Maybe they're not happy with the things that you've done, or as you get over the things that you've done in your life. Aunts and uncles, grandparents. And then sometimes on the other side, there's your friends, your really close friends that you still talk to till today after 30, 40 years. Co-workers, you might have a disagreement with, right? But when it comes time to your family sometimes mending or having a conversation to better the relationship could either go two ways. It could either go good or it could go bad. So as we get older, we tend to want to forget, especially the bad stuff. And it all depends on the severity of how bad that was. It all depends on what it was or how bad it was. And then, you brush it off your shoulders and you keep going. But some, unfortunately, can't be erased and can't be moved. And that's where the hatred comes in, right? So fast forward, I was at a family function of a family member who passed away a year ago. So the siblings were getting together, and the siblings, there are 3 siblings. Siblings came from other states to meet up, and I was included because they were like, Uncle C, why don't you come through? And it'll be great because we haven't seen you in a while. And I was the same way. I was like, I can't wait to see you guys. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Unfortunately, we saw each other last year. The middle child, or the middle person, the brother, wanted to mend 2 sisters together. 2 sisters that grew up in the same household, because the 3 siblings, are from separate moms. So they didn't all grow up together. So one sister already knew that mending was not going to help. It's only because he didn't know the severity and the damage mentally and physically that it had already done for years. They're grown adults. So it was more of a, hey, stop the bickering, stop the beef, and let's get together, chit chat. Before the gathering, let's get together. Fast forward, it didn't work out. It worked out to the fact where they both literally, like, it was a hello and goodbye for me, because I was excited to see them, and they just decided that they didn't want to talk. They didn't want to do anything. I want to, just go back home, and that's it. And it was really sad. It was sad because there was 2 occasions. One, we were there to remember and reflect on the person that was lost, and then those that were feuding. And it was really short-lived. I don't want to sit here and say it was a waste of time, because I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it was a waste of time for the siblings that came from other states to get together, and it just didn't work. Will it work? I don't ever think so. And it's sad because growing up in a household with siblings and, all the things that they've done since they were young is all thrown away. I don't know what happened, between that time, why there's just so much fire and why you can't put it out with water or anything in general. It just won't work. And as adults, you want to continue to live your life BS free. Like you don't want any more bullshit in your family. You want to continue and you want to live and just like leave me alone. But that mental pain and that, just that physical ability to keep moving forward because your sibling is not around, it's still going to hurt. Will they ever get over it? No. Because it's already, you're getting older. It's already built in there. It's already in your brain housing group, and it's not going to go away. You won't sleep. You won't eat. It's just in the pit of your stomach, and that's really sad. I, on the other hand, my oldest brother, and we had a fantastic relationship when he was around. Storyteller. The dude was a storyteller. I'm a storyteller, but he was a storyteller, but he was a one-upper. And my second oldest brother, he and I really never had a great relationship. And still to this day, as we're a lot older, it's just a quick hello and goodbye, and it just never, it's unfortunate. When my mom passed away back in 2015, it was the first time that her three kids were in the same room in like 25, 30 years together in the same room, because that had never happened. And since I really didn't communicate much with my second oldest brother, I told my oldest brother, it's really sad that we have to come together and see each other like this. But the next time we see each other is at one of our funerals, right? I said either he'll come to mine or you'll see him, or vice versa, Fast forward, my oldest brother passed away in 2018, and I was able to see my second oldest brother, but it was still like, the slate still hadn't been clean. It just, we lost another family member and we kept moving forward. Does it hurt? Yes. But then I'm older. I have my own family to worry about. And I have my own time to reflect. I have to build my own family, keep them ready, keep my son ready for his trial as he gets older, right? So I grew up without a dad. My dad was killed when I was 10 years old. So it's always good to have that male figure around, right? But my dad was not around. It's unfortunate. But see here, reverse, I have a son and I'm always going to be there for him until my last breath. And he knows that. I've been there for him from jump. Never missed a game, never missed an activity, nothing. I'm always there, and I always hope to be there. My wife and I both are always there. So now, it is what it is. Basically, point and blank, it is what it is. You can't keep dwelling on someone who doesn't want to be in your life. You've tried already. You tried when you were young. You tried when you're adults, and you keep trying, and all you're going to do is continue to get hurt. Everybody says, hey, you never know. No, you're going to know, because it's not going to work. It's sad and it's unfortunate. We have to continue on in our lives. So my wife and I, almost every year, or for the holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving and all those important holidays, or important holidays in people's lives, we tend to say, okay, let's see who we're going to text or who we're going to receive texts from, because I'm not going to go ahead and text someone if they, it's like that thing. But we're good-hearted people, so we end up doing it anyway. And the response is, okay, whatever, but that's just the way it is. But it's hardly ever that other person. The other person that you're thinking about won't text you first and say whatever. Usually they do. They're good like that. But some on the other, if you won't do it, they won't do it. And then you get like the family members that move away and, oh, when are you going to come visit me? Well, you lived 4 blocks away from me, not, a few years ago. We didn't visit each other then. Now that you live further away, what makes you think, and that's another bickering beef, right? On mending relationships, and it's hard. The doors are always open in your arm. My hand is always stretched out. And if you don't grab that hand to shake it or do it, I'll try. But if you're not going to grab it and say hello or shake my hand, then it is what it is. We're just going to keep it moving. Now, the other side, the happy side to mending with family members, right? So I also have a great family member in my life, and my wife, her life as well. My older son, his side of the family, the person that he's with, his partner, great people, great family. So just recently, she mended with her family. And what I mean by that is there was a point in time in her life, if I understand this correctly, if I don't say it right, she's going to send me a text or anything after this episode and she's going to yell at me. But I told her, do what you got to do. And she gave me the free. She's like, go ahead. I wasn't going to mention names. I told her I was just going to tell the story. So fast forward, she had it to where her relationship with her dad really wasn't great growing up. And I understand that it's the same for both of her sisters. Now, there was a big, the father moved to another country. And I think that's where the missing, in your dad came to play. I think it's very important that every young boy or young man has their father in their life. And I always think that it's important for a young lady to have their mother in their life. But then it's always daddy's little girl and mommy's young, whatever. Regardless, those are your kids, right? But there's that special bond. And I see it with my older son and his daughter, that special bond between mommy and daddy, right? Excuse me, with dad. Sorry, with me and daddy, meaning a young girl, daddy's little girl type thing. So as she got older and her sisters got older, that really wasn't there as much. So I knew that in her mind, she had to mend it. They had a great opportunity to go to their country and see their extended family, plus to see mom, grandmom, and the most important person was dad, because they had missed that opportunity in between all those years to mend things. I think for her, it was nice to see a smile on her face when she was around him, meaning her dad, and her sisters as well. I know that the outcome was positive because you can see the support, you can see the glowing in their faces, during their vacation, because they send pictures and they send videos and stuff. And it was just positive to see that finally in her life and her sister's lives, that they were able to come to a truce, a ceasefire, and really take that needle and take that thread and restitch what was broken or what was torn. I think that, and I hope that she is at ease, that it's not that big gorilla or something on your back for all these years. Who knows? Maybe she was nervous. because she didn't know the outcome, or they didn't know the outcome. But from what I saw, I think it was a great opportunity, and it was actually success, because just imagine traveling to another country to meet someone that you hadn't seen in a long time, or the communication was really not there. I think that they enjoyed one another's company, obviously. I think that it will continue, and I think that the bond that they have now will be stronger. I think the family crest that they've had all these years would only grow and blossom more. And that's all we pray for them, and for her and their family. That's what my wife and I will just think about them. And I hope that in their journey, that I hope that it's successful and it'll just, skyrocket. So I'm really happy for them. I told you I'm not going to say names. I was just going to mention it as a story. And I hope I was kind of correct from the bits and pieces that I was getting. But see, those are the things that I honestly don't know what the issue was prior to her dad moving away in all those years. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 6 years, 7 years, maybe long. I don't know. It's great to see. See, in those things, you don't know, because then it would have been not good to go as far as they did to meet their dad and their mom and the family, and it just not go well. Like I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know the feeling. I wouldn't know what to do, right? But I'm very grateful for them that it went well, and I hope that it continues to go well. There are people out there that don't have that opportunity. There are people out there that will never know who their mom is, who their dad is, who their brothers are. It's sad to me, but that's the way life is. You can grasp it and hopefully hold on to it as long as you can, but eventually, depending on how strong that bond is, it's going to slip out of your hands and let go. It can be the most minute things. A little argument about, why didn't you throw out the garbage? Or why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you pay this bill? Or leave your brother alone. Leave your sister alone. Stop bothering. Stop bullying him. Stop bothering. Why didn't you go see your grandfather? Why didn't you go see your grandmother? Your cousins are asking for you. There are those little things. Look, and I'm guilty too. There's certain people that I forget about sometimes because I'm busy. We're all busy. We're doing things. Like I said, we have to tend to our own families. We have to make sure that our families are right before we continue on. If you have children, or those out there that have children, you have to pave that road for your kids so they can pick up and move on and do their own thing. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build something for my kids. So when they get older, they can do, if they happen to have children, they can do things in their lives and they can continue on. That's why it's called a cycle, right? Just reciprocating, recycling type thing. Just keep doing it. That's where traditions become in play. One of my episodes, that's what I talk about, traditions. Where did they go? We got to keep them going. We have to try our best to mend. And if you don't, at least you tried. And I give people credit for trying, because I think the hardest thing is trying, being afraid to try and just forget it. I don't want to do it. That's the hardest thing. But trying and really putting your foot down and listening, and then taking the information that you heard and say something about it. Some people, and I'll be honest, some people are just thick-headed. They don't want to hear it. They just want to know what they know. You're always wrong. I'm always right. That's the way it's going to be. Go F yourself. That's how it is in certain relationships, family relationships. But then there's some that'll sit there and listen and give you positive thoughts, positive reinforcements, positive everything. And then you take that and you use what bits and pieces that person told you and you move on and you do your thing, what you're supposed to do. But then there's some, like, I have a cousin and she has 6 brothers and sisters. They're great. They all love each other. They're there for every event, everything. Do they have quarrels? Do they butt heads? And yeah, I wish I had that, and I don't, but it's okay because I have my family that I have to worry about. So I'll bump heads with my wife. I'll bump heads with my son and my oldest son. And, it just keeps going, but we're always going to love each other. And that's one thing. Regardless of the things that you've been through in your life, you can hate, but there's always a little peace in your heart. Now, again, it all depends on the severity. Like if somebody physically, mentally abused you and all this other stuff, I get it. You don't have to, to feel sorry for that person, to have love, it's probably never going to be there. But I meant for those who I haven't spoken to the person in 2 months type thing, or 2 years because I didn't put peanut butter and jelly type deal. You're going to grow up and you're going to tend to, don't worry about it, let's get over it, blase. Because you're going to feel more like shit that if you didn't try and the person passes on and you never got that opportunity to mend or try and talk it out or just pick up the phone, vice versa, and just be like, hey, what's going on? When are we going to stop this bickering? But if you try, the person again doesn't want to, then there's nothing you can do, especially when you get older. We don't have time for games. We don't have time for kindergarten games. You're either going to yay or you're either going to nay. So it's on you, right? So I hope I covered it. I hope I maybe made some people understand. As far as mending goes, you get the positives, then you get the negatives. And usually the negatives are going to be like, I'll never do it. It's never going to work out. Never do it, and just keep moving. And there's going to be that little, it's going to be in the back, that back burner. And you're going to be like, man, oh, well, their loss, or, but when there's other children involved, like nieces and nephews and their kids and stuff, it's hard because you'll never get to know them, right? You'll never get to see your nieces and nephews and stuff because of what's going on back and forth. And that's kind of sad. But we all tend to grow up and we all tend to just keep moving, right? And that's what you got to do, keep moving forward. So if you get the opportunity, please find me on TikTok or YouTube. Just Yappin, JUSYAPPIN 73. All right. Please subscribe, like, and comment on those pages. And I hope everybody is doing well. Until next time, I'm Big C. Peace.